Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the TTOs, the Tony Onying Show. It's been long since we hosted this. I'm joined with Gloria, my co-host as usual. Gloria, it's been really long.
Yeah, actually, it has been really long.
I don't know whether I should say you're the root cause, but
I don't think.
So who was the cause?
I think it's you.
Me.
Yeah.
We were all out.
That's the fact.
And then what happened? Anyway, that is a conversation for another day. So, Gloria, what do you have for us in your bag today?
Actually, I just want to first say hi to our dear viewers. And today we are basically looking at responsible parenting in today's society.
Responsible parenting.
Yeah.
What is so special?
We want to see how different it is, the parenting of these days and how it was in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to think ahead. In the past, how long ago was it?
In the past, I may say even in 1990s.
1990s.
Yeah, because this generation changed around in 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Remember, we used to watch some video clips around, the behavior of children of the 80s when you say, hey, Junior, go close the door. And the Junior would go and close the door. They had that aspect of what we could call fear versus discipline.
Yeah, true.
So it looks like something probably went wrong. And we're also looking at, as a psychologist that you are, we're trying to look at it also from the angle of the nature and the nurture. Do you feel the definition of nature-nurture changed?
It really changed, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the gap?
The gap is on parenting, because how children used to behave, like you said, in the past, is totally different from how they behave these days. Because there is that word they use of .com.
The .com.
Yeah. So now that there are very many things that they have been introduced to, more so technology, so they have adapted to what the environment brings, and they are used now.
Let's first break it this way. Nature is the community, and nurture is what I would call the parenting.
Yeah.
As responsibility.
Yeah.
Who played the nurture in the 90s, in the 80s, and who is playing the nurture?
It is still the parents.
Which parents are these?
The parents in the family.
Of the children?
The parents of the children.
Why do I feel like... let me bring it this way. Mm-hmm. That nurturing was a responsibility of the parent. Then is actually not was. My conscience tells me that in today's generation, nurture seems to have united with nature. Why am I saying so? The community is playing more part in these children. If I'm to bring it from the family background, the responsibility that used to be for the mother has been transferred to the maid today. The nurture is now the maid and the community. The mother is in office. In the past, the mother was in the kitchen, is in the garden. I used to call it the virtuous woman was in the 90s, in the 80s. The one that woke up at 4 a.m. and woke up the kids with cold water. Today, they wake up the kid with blue band. So what has gone wrong? Is it the fact that there was this aspect, Gloria, about the role of women in the society, the role of women in development, okay, that women should play a part in contributing to the good of the society. Men should play part equally in contributing to the goodness of the society, which I highly respect and like. But my question is, did something go wrong with what a man can do, a woman can do? Did something go wrong? Is something going wrong?
Actually, I don't think anything went wrong. It's how the world is changing.
It's changing.
Yeah.
Where is it leaving the children?
The world is changing, and like I said at first, that word.com, all children move with it.
Children are moving with .com.
Yeah, they're moving
so
with
parents
.com.
are leaving children for the .com.
They are leaving children because you see in the past, parents would command.
Yes.
But these days, parents don't want to let the children be hurt.
Now if you command a child today, the child calls for the police.
Actually. Because those things happen even in some schools.
So who is playing the responsible parenting? In this case, .com or?
It's actually .com.
It's .com.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
We just need to keep on giving such talks to parents, to teachers, to everyone listening to us, so that we can make that a bit different. I don't say that we can totally change it, but we can make a little bit different.
When you look at the structure of the corporate world, maybe this is a topic for another day. You look at the structure for the corporate world, women have been empowered into topmost positions. You look at certain jobs that are so much demanding.
Yeah.
You leave home at 6 a.m. and come back at 8 p.m. You never see how the kitchen looks. You do not even know what is happening. I remember something strange during COVID-19 when it turned out that some ladies had never visited the kitchen because it had been given to the maids. And the children had not had a taste of their mommy's food. The day when mommy went in to cook for the very first time, these children who were left in the hands of .com were asking mommy, what is this? Where did Angela go? Angela the maid. So do we feel there is a question not being answered in this context of today's society?
The questions are very, very many. I don't say it is one or two. Questions are many there. But you see these days, like you said it at first, women used to go in the garden, dig, wake up early, go. But these days you wake up when what you're thinking about is jam that you find on the way while you're going to work.
But remember,
yeah,
what is very strange still is that back in the days they would wake up and go to the garden, but they did not stop eating foods that are gotten from the garden, which means the garden still stayed, they still remain part and parcel of the society. When we live here, when we are on leave from when our boss here gives us rest, we all leave and probably choose either to go to the beach or we go to the village. And when we go to the village, we have a visit of what our grannies are doing. You get it?
Yeah.
And now we feel we are losing that attachment, and yet that attachment is still very important. So,
yeah, actually, it's very, very important.
Yeah, so what do we need to do to really get the world back? You know, parenting is very core. Because I believe, Gloria, if you raise a child, today when you go to most homes, let me tell you, the mothers are not there. The mother is working in up country, 300 kilometers away. The children are in the hands of the maid. It is the maid who chooses how these children grow. Tomorrow when this woman comes back home, she is a visitor in her own house. Where on earth are we headed? To be honest.
I actually see your point, but you see, like I said, jobs that we get these days have not separated us so much far from our children, but because we want our children to look or not to lack, you find that we are pushing to look for money than being with our children. Because first we want them to eat well, we want them to eat CJs, We
What
want
is
them
CG?
You don't know? You're learning new things today. We want them to go to good schools, and if you just sit with them at home, they cannot get what they really want. And you see, some of these children today, they admire other children. They see this one is in this school, now for us we are in this
But
school.
that takes us
And
back
then
to
you
one
find
thing. Gloria, just pause a bit. You see, we all lived in that society where we admired. We had houses which didn't have TV antennas on top. We had those ones that had certain radios. There's this concept of I wish, I wish, I wish. I wish is a definition of life.
Actually, I also once upon a time wished. But
you stopped wishing?
It's about pushing and fighting for it so that you can reach your goals.
But discipline of children remain core.
Like I said, Tony, it is all about .com, because we are trying to follow the steps or the things that have really changed in the world, and we want to fit in. So for us to fit in, we have to do what it takes.
So wait, are you going to do the same to your children? You're going to leave your children for the .com to determine their destiny?
Of course, I can't say I'm going to leave my children to that
But that's what
because
you're pushing
I
for.
can't be presenting this kind of presentation or this kind of talk. Then I again turn my children.
No, so
like
you are
that.
sitting in two worlds.
I'm telling you that the world has already changed.
So
we just need to talk about...
To change with the world.
I'm not saying we need to change with the world, but we just need to bring some changes through these talks that we are now
Yes,
giving,
but we need to live them. We need to be in them. We need to defend our values.
You see, let me tell you, it's not about changing someone in a week. It's not about changing someone in a day. It takes time.
But it starts when this child is young.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I don't agree with you.
So
on that.
what I'm saying, some children have already grown. And like you said, some parents have already got involved in corporate world and stuff. And it's hard to change them in a day or two. So it needs time. Like I said, you need this talk to be happening thoroughly so that they can keep listening, and eventually the world will keep changing.
You know where the problem is, Gloria? We are leaving these kids for the .com. These kids in just a bit become 18 years and they get into a relationship. Then they also advance their children into .com, and slowly by slowly they forget the actual ideas and the values that should have defined them, because somebody sat behind and said, I want a good life for my children. But one thing that we need to agree here is that a good life comprises discipline inculcated by these parents. A good life is not having meat on the liver as a meal given to the child, taking the child for ice cream. No. If we look into the book of Robert Kiyosaki, The Poor Dad, The Rich Dad, the journey of the rich kid, the survivor, was from struggling on his own. My perception is the day when the child begins to learn the difference between darkness and light, that child has reached an age of reason. Now, we're keeping on pampering this kid that she does not even know how to clean the table. You are an African child. You know that when visitors come, you're supposed to kneel down and greet the visitors as a girl child. You do not do it because somebody somewhere is saying my children can never kneel down. That is what we
That's
call
true.
irresponsible parenting. Children need to grow with their mother and father together. Now, this is a message to these parents who live apart and leave the children in the hands of the maid. It is dangerous, that's the truth. It is totally very, very bad. And I'll tell you one thing. The most delicate to raise is the girl child.
That's very true.
Why am I saying so? If this girl reaches a period and begins, for instance, to see her periods, what happens? She needs somebody to be there for her. She does not need a secondary mother to be there for her to guide about her growth. She needs her biological mother who will shamelessly tell her, change this, change that. How does it feel if you come from your office and your girl has dumped her panties in the basin and no one is there? She's waiting for the maid to wash them. That is not parenting. That's not the future we're looking out for. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you one thing. When you leave these children to grow like this, tomorrow you're not going to blame this man for being a player, a cheat, simply because your daughter cannot do housework. And what will happen to this man? He is going to keep bringing maids. And a maid who turns out to be more responsive is most likely to replace you. What are you going to do? Are you going to court? No. So we need to give chance. We need to think back. Because one thing, Gloria, may I believe, I don't know what your perception is, but one thing that we all need to agree to is the fact that we cannot disassociate ourselves from the past completely. This thing of technology, these things of innovation, we are here, we're not hosting a show, are we not using technology, but there is still an aspect of discipline involved. So that is something that we really, really need to go on with, Gloria. I beg, in the name of God.
I really understand the way you brought it. It is really the good explanation that you've given, and I believe our dear viewers are listening and picking up some points in this. But I still stand and say the world has changed.
The world has changed.
The world has
So we
changed.
change with the world.
Because in the past, we used to buy salt at 200. Is it still there?
The salt?
Yeah.
The salt is still there, and the taste of the salt
It
has
is,
not changed.
but not the same price.
Yes.
But in the past, you would sit with your children at home, go in the garden, sell like matoke, and that money you would use it for the whole week. But these days you can't change 10K and use it for even 2 days. You get that? So meaning that if parents sit at home with their children, the children will eventually leave them at home, go and look for, if the girls are old, look for sugar daddies to give them money to take care of themselves. But these days, parents are instead fighting to give their children what it takes so that they don't go out. But the problem is, children, instead of using that money responsibly, maybe what the parents are not doing is to guide their children or be there for them and let them know how to use that money they give them.
Anyway, Gloria, I know this conversation is going to take us way too far, but what we can do in our next discussion, I need us to discuss whose reality counts.
Okay.
Is it the parents who give the children everything, or the parents who teach the children how to catch fish? So are they either eating the fish or catching the fish? That will be our conversation for the next day. Thank you so much. And I hope we catch up again.
All right, Tony.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning on to the Tony Onying Show. We shall be back tomorrow with yet another wonderful